Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel, and today I am back with another part of this What If. What if Naruto is an older brother, and this is going to be part 8. And once again, we are enjoying the great outdoors here. So, like any extra sounds you hear or anything like that, like birds chirping or some machinery or something like that, whatever, um, you know, the reason why. So, anyways, yeah, I'm having a pretty good streak of uploads here. So, um, enough of me babbling around now, and let's just get straight to where we left off. And this was when Naruto was leaving the village on his training trip. So, I'm not really going to go too much into the training trip. Like, I'm just going to give you a short version here, and it's 5 years long. So, yeah. So the very first thing that Naruto does after he, leaves the village, is to try and find Anko. And he knew that Orochimaru would not outright kill her, as he knew that he would much rather make Anko his experiment or like try to make her his protege. So he basically using his sensory skills and information on Orochimaru that he picked up from Itachi. Yes, Naruto did visit Itachi from time to time when Itachi was not on his Akatsuki missions. So with all that, he was able to find the location of several of Orochimaru's bases, and once he was able to confirm that Anko wasn't there in each of them, he destroyed them. After collecting some information that he found useful. So, most of the bases he found were abandoned, and it seemed that Orochimaru was always a step ahead. But after several months of searching, he was finally able to find Anko, like almost dead, after Orochimaru bit her and put the curse mark on her. And seeing her like unconscious and literally about to die, Naruto was not well versed enough in medical ninjutsu to be able to heal her, but he knew enough to stabilize her condition a little bit and seal her into a stasis scroll. So he did that, and he summoned Midori, and Midori was like, "You haven't summoned me in a while, Naruto. What's happening?" And Naruto was like, "Do you know anyone from your Fox clan that can heal? And yeah, they should specialize in healing." And Midori was like, "Well, you're speaking to such a fox right now. In fact, I am the most skilled medical practitioner among the entire Fox clan." And Naruto was like, "Oh, that's great, Midori. I never knew." And Midori was like, "What? Do you think I was slacking off during the 3 years during which you haven't contacted me?" And Naruto was like, "You make it sound as if I've done something wrong by not contacting you." And Midori was like, "Well, being the daughter of the leader of the Fox clan can get pretty boring, especially with all the politics." And Naruto was like, "I can relate. But if my memory serves me well, you asked me to contact you only when I was in need of your services." And Midori was like, I suppose you're right." And Naruto was like, "Additionally, if you wanted my company that much, you could have simply reverse summoned me to your home." And Midori was like, yes, I suppose it is my mistake then. Anyways, what do you need me for?" And Naruto was like, "Anko, I found her." And Midori was like, "Really? She's alright after 3 years?" And Naruto was like, that's the issue here. She's not alright. She was on the verge of dying when I found her, and I was hoping you could heal her." And Midori was like, "Alright, bring her here." And Naruto was like, "I sealed her in this scroll." And he just summoned her out of the scroll. And Midori was like, she is not in a very good condition, after observing Anko for a few minutes. And Naruto was like, "Is it possible for you to heal her?" And Midori was like, "Healing her would not be an issue." And Naruto was like, "Thank you so much, Midori." And Midori was like, "Thank me after I'm finished." As she opened her mouth and was about to breathe fire on Anko. And Naruto was like, "I will, but why are you trying to breathe fire on her?" And Midori was like, I'll explain later. And Naruto decided to trust Midori as she was his summon, and he decided that she would know what she's doing. So he left it to her, and as Midori blew fire out, the fire was actually green in color, and Naruto could feel that it was imbued with yang energy. And when he felt the heat of the fire, it was not hot; it was just slightly warm, and made him feel very comfortable. And after like a few seconds of Midori breathing fire on Anko suddenly woke up with a scream, and Midori was like, "Hold her still, Naruto. She may have woken up, but the treatment is not finished yet." And Naruto obeyed Midori, and he held Anko still. And Midori continued blowing fire for a few more seconds until she decided that the treatment was done. And Naruto looked at Anko and saw that she was quite dehydrated, and quickly using his water manipulation, he was able to push a small amount of water into all of Anko's cells, which quickly rehydrated. And Midori looked at him and was like, "Wow, that is some serious skill in water manipulation." And Naruto was like, "Thank you." And Midori just nodded, and Anko was like, "Naruto, what are you doing here? Where's Sensei?" And Naruto was like, "I'm sorry, Anko, but Orochimaru Sensei has left you to die here." And Anko was like, "What?" And she was like, That wasn't a dream." And Naruto was like, "What exactly happened to you?" And Anko was like, and Anko just basically like told Naruto the entire story of what happened with Orochimaru, and how Orochimaru had tricked her by telling her that he was only taking her outside for a training trip, which would be too dangerous to, and the training would be too dangerous to do in Konoha, where civilians could get injured. And she told him how she enjoyed it at first, and she was becoming a lot stronger. But then, when she had found out about his human experiments, Orochimaru knew that she wouldn't be loyal to him anymore, and he used her for the cursed seal experiment. And Naruto was pretty infuriated by what Orochimaru had done, and it was actually showing on his face. And he told Anko the entire story about what happened with Orochimaru and how he became a rogue ninja in the Leaf Village. And Anko was absolutely shocked. And the only reason why she even trusted Orochimaru was because, first of all, he was her sensei, and second of all, he worked with the root part of the Anbu. And even though she didn't like Root very much because of their more brutal methods, I mean, not brutal, like Anko loves brutality. I mean, they're more like inhumane methods. That's what I meant. So she didn't like their more inhumane methods, but she knew that Root was created for the benefit of Konoha, and she thought that Orochimaru was trustworthy. So anyways, once Anko had processed all of this new information, Naruto was like, "So, Anko, right now you have two options. At least two options which I think are the best for you. Uh, uh, the first option is that you can go back to Konoha and continue living your life there. But I do warn you that there might be a stigma against you there, as after all, you did work for Orochimaru. And right now in Konoha, Orochimaru's reputation is worse than the Kyuubi's." And Anko's eyes widened at this, and she was like, "Then what's the second option?" And Naruto was like, "During your time with Orochimaru, has he ever mentioned a group called the Akatsuki?" And Anko was like, "I don't know what it is, but he did mention it a few times, yes." And Naruto was like, "Did he tell you about what they want to do?" And Anko was like, "No, he didn't really go too deep into it." And Naruto was like, "Well, Itachi and I found that the Akatsuki have a goal of capturing the tail beasts. We do not know yet what they hope to accomplish by collecting all of them, but we do know that in order to do so, the people who hold the tail beasts, meaning the Jinchurikis, will die if the tail beast is extracted from them. And Anko's eyes widened at this, and she was like, "But your sister." And Naruto was like, "Exactly. Natsumi's life is in danger, and I don't know how powerful these people from Akatsuki are, or even how many there are. So I was thinking about creating an organization specifically for combating the Akatsuki and trying to hinder them in any way possible." And Anko was like, "Quite an ambitious goal." And Naruto was like, "It is, but I have reached the S rank in bingo books." So I decided to leave Konoha for the next 5 years on what I told my parents was a training trip. But in reality, it's to explore the world of elemental nations and to find strong people to add to my organization. And Anko was like, "That's a pretty good idea. So are you offering me to join?" And Naruto was like, "I am, and you will be my first recruit if you'd agree." And Anko was like, "Of course I'll agree. It is a much better option than going back to Konoha and getting hindered in my career as a shinobi because of the old bags in the council that they called the elders." And Naruto was like, "Alright, Anko, welcome to Hanya." And Anko was like, "You named your group too?" And Naruto was like, "Well, Akatsuki means dawn, and Hanya means midnight. And since midnight comes before dawn, our group will symbolize the prevention of the Akatsuki's motives." And Anko was like, "Nice, I like it." And Naruto was like, anyways, let's go now." So Naruto moved from nation to nation, searching for recruits, and he spent most of his time, his training time, in the Cloud Village, the Mist Village, and the Sand Village. And why he did this was because these three villages actually have the harshest conditions, and he would be able to, like, you know train his body to fight in conditions that weren't in his favor. So now we have like a bit more than 4 year long time skip because of the number of months Naruto spent searching for Anko. And anyways, during this time Naruto had learned several techniques, and he had mastered all of his you know elements, and he was able to find several people who were willing to be part of his group Hanya. And he learned another especially useful jutsu, which was the blood clone jutsu. And due to the almost instant regeneration he got, his almost instant regeneration, when some of his blood was removed, it was like instantly replaced. So he could make several blood clones in a single day, and he was able to send all of them to expand his search pretty much. And even with all of this, even like after learning how to regenerate, Naruto still didn't regenerate his arm because he felt that his arm was a price to pay for his hubris when he was facing Orochimaru. Pretty much the same thing Sasuke thought when he refused the Hashirama Cell arm after Naruto Shippuden was ending. So yeah, and Naruto grew his hair out like pretty long, so he kind of looked like Madara, like the hairstyle, and also due to his mastery of Demon Fox Sage Mode, he completely had taken on the extra features. Like his ears were slightly pointier, his eyes pupils were slitted, he could see clearly in the dark. His senses had amplified exponentially, and the lining around his eyelids became a lot thicker, like Gara's eyes, pretty much. Oh yeah, and of course his teeth, especially his canines, became slightly sharper. And the last feature that Naruto had that was kind of like you know a telltale sign to a bad to Naruto's like enemy, that he was fighting Naruto. was that Naruto's green eyes had developed a sort of glow glow to them. Like even when Naruto wasn't fighting, his eyes would like passively glow a little bit, and when he was like fighting seriously, it was like the Sharingan type of glow. So yeah, this made him look pretty badass, and I'm gonna tell you the team he collected now. Naruto's group Hanya is, of course, Naruto, then Fu, the seven tails Jinchuriki, then Han, the five tails Jinchuriki, then Roshi, the four tails Jinchuriki, Utakata, the six tails Jinchuriki, then there's Gurren, that crystal release girl that Naruto in this story he found in one of Orochimaru's abandoned bases, along with Yukimaru, um, and there was also Raiga and Ranmaru. Uh, if you remember that kind of filler arc in the first part of Naruto, where Raiga's like another legendary swordsman, and yeah, that's it for now. Oh yeah, and of course Anko. How could I forget Anko? So, anyways, over the last 5 years, he trained them until they were like from high A rank to high S rank. Like that was a range of which the range which the group had, and Naruto was classified as SS rank in the bingo book. And yeah, by the way, Naruto also helped the Mist Village in the Civil War and helped May become the Mizukage. And while he knew the truth about what happened to Yagura, however, Yagura was absolutely mortified by what he had done, as he still retained his memories. And Yagura is now a broken man, and he begged Naruto to kill him. So Naruto just decided to put him out of his misery and killed him, but not before unsealing his three tails and sealing it inside Yukimaru, who had better control over it. And this is why, like, even though Yukimaru is kind of like just a little kid, he doesn't really know much. He was able to become a low S rank shinobi. And by the way, in this story, Yukimaru is a bit older, guys. Like, he is as old as you know Natsumi is right now. So yeah, and he is low S rank. So pretty impressive. And due to Naruto visiting so many villages, he also had several informants in each village, and the only person who knew about what he was doing in Konoha were Jiraiya and Kakashi right now, as of now, because Kakashi was like his older brother, and while they didn't really interact much, Naruto felt that he could trust Kakashi, and Kakashi would not be as overbearing about it as his parents would, so he did not tell his parents, and he also told Jiraiya, making him swear that he wouldn't tell Minato or Kushina. And in case you haven't noticed, Jiraiya is pretty good at hiding information, and he knew that what Naruto was doing was a good thing that would likely prevent them from ever, having to even face Akatsuki. Uh, but he still was a bit worried for Naruto, so Jiraiya always frequently contacted Naruto, like even when it was not to like report him any information, just like check on him. So yeah, they had that type of thing. So his informants in Konoha were Jiraiya and Kakashi, and in the Sand Village, um, he didn't really have informants there yet because Rasa was kind of getting a bit power hungry, and Naruto felt that he couldn't really trust him. And in the Sand Village, he didn't really meet anyone who could be like inconspicuous enough, as well as uh, disloyal enough to the Sand Village to uh, inform him, to like discreetly inform him about what's happening there, without like informing Rasa what was going on as well. And obviously in the Mist Village, he had Mei, Ao, and Chojuro as his informants, which are obviously like super high ranked. Obviously, like Mei is the Kage, and they kind of knew about what was going on in the higher up places, pretty much. So they were pretty good choices, and also they felt that it was only right to help Naruto out with this, as he helped them out with the war. So, like Naruto felt that they wouldn't really try to mislead him. So, anyways, next we have Kumo, the Cloud Village, and here we have uh, Yugito, B, and Darui, and yes, Naruto did meet these people, and he also became very good friends with the Raikage, who greatly admired the fact that Naruto was able to get so strong, and he even felt that Naruto might be able to rival his father. And yeah, so Naruto was on really good terms with the Cloud Village, and while B was not, really. Um, like he wasn't really outgoing in the Cloud Village because the Raikage kind of kept him a bit locked up. He kind of knew all the gossip among the Cloud Villagers, so if anything was happening that was suspicious, he would tell Naruto. And since Yugito is a more active shinobi, and due to her being a Jinchuriki, more of the action was centered around her. She would also like know how to. I mean, like enough about any like secrets to tell Naruto when the Akatsuki is involved, and also Darui, due to his close position to the Raikage, he would also know if anything suspicious is going on in the higher ups positions. So he was he was the last of Naruto's informants in the Cloud Village. And next we have the Grass Village, and here we have oh wait, never mind. It's not the Grass Village. It is the Waterfall Village, and here we have Shibuki, the leader of the village, who is Naruto's informant. And Naruto felt that Shibuki was enough because Waterfall was a pretty small village. So yeah, and other than that, Naruto didn't have any informants anywhere. But yeah, that was a lot. And by the way, I forgot to mention before, Naruto also mastered the Rasengan and its variants, as well as the Hiraishin no Jutsu, the Flying Thunder God Jutsu that his father had created. But Naruto felt that the kunais in the Flying Thunder God Jutsu were too conspicuous. So he actually ended up creating a new type of jutsu that kind of does a similar thing, but it's much better. So Naruto found out a way to draw extremely microscopic seals with his chakra and infuse them into his wind jutsu and create a huge like wind jutsu that would spray them throughout the air. And this allowed him to dissociate into like air, like literally turn himself into air, and get to other places with on the battlefield like even faster than Minato could. However, the only problem with this was it only worked on like with short distances, like on a battlefield. But if Naruto wanted to go like between, say, different nations or like different cities within like a nation, he was sticking to the Hiraishin, the Flying Thunder God, um, as it actually had an anchor to the other place, and a solid anchor which wouldn't like kind of disperse into the air. And Naruto called his new wind, teleportation jutsu Hifushin. I kind of got the name because Hiraishin means flying thunder god, like Rai means thunder, and Fu means wind, so I kind of substituted them. And any Japanese people or people who know Japanese who are watching this channel, if that's not really something that makes sense, please let me know and like please give me like a correct name for it. Like what I'm trying to say is flying wind god. So, anyways, yeah, and also Naruto and Anko started dating during this, time skip. Like even though Naruto was not very emotionally expressive, he kind of introspected how, like, why he was so, emotional only when Anko was in danger, and he realized that he actually cared about her, like, in that way. And Naruto was no fool, and he could read like Anko's the signals that Anko was sending him, especially during his experience during his training trip where he interacted with more people and like kind of found out more about their behavioral patterns, like how in Naruto how Sai was able to become more expressive. Like Naruto was able to learn how to do this to a lesser extent than Sai, but and I'm talking about the learning here, not like the ending. Like Naruto was already pretty. He already had a pretty good understanding of how emotions worked, but then like he needed a bit more experience interacting with people to understand these kind of things. So, anyways, Naruto was able to see, that Anko was kind of feeling the same as he felt towards her. So, of course, Naruto confessed to Anko about his feelings for her, and Anko was overjoyed, and she did the same. And yeah, Anko became his girlfriend. So, yeah, the training time skip or whatever, like finding the Hanya members time skip is over now, and now Naruto is 18. And however, he doesn't really want to go back to Konoha yet, because if he goes back to Konoha, then who will run Hanya, right? So he created a blood clone of himself and infused as much chakra into it as possible, so that it could resemble him somewhat of on like how he would on how his chakra levels would be. So yeah, Naruto's current chakra levels, they were like the level of the seven tails, and with the like with his like senjutsu chakra, which he now had constant access to, he was at the level of like half the nine tails in terms of chakra levels. And yeah, and obviously he had much more practice with Shikotsumyaku. So anyways, he sent the blood clone back to Konoha, and he continued with his organization. And Naruto obviously went back with some gifts for Natsumi and for Jiraiya and Kakashi. So yeah, and he went back into Konoha, and he was greeted with much celebration from the Chunin guards and the people who saw him. Oh wait, 1 second, guys. I'm not going to make his entrance like that. It's got to be dope. So, anyways, like, fine. He's going to come back to Konoha at the time when his sister is in danger because of Mizuki. However, this time Iruka doesn't come on time to save Natsumi. So right as Natsumi is about to get stabbed by Mizuki, or like at least his shuriken, Naruto uses wind manipulation to quickly slice the shuriken to bits and blow them away. And Mizuki was like, "What was that?" And Naruto appeared in front of Mizuki, and he was like, your parents should have had an abortion if it meant preventing the existence of scum like you." And Mizuki was like, "Bastard, how dare you!" And he tried to take a swing at Naruto, but Naruto caught his fist with his metal arm and crushed it until like blood came oozing out of the crevices of his fist. And Mizuki screamed in pain, but Naruto grabbed his throat with his other hand and used his Sage Mode to extend his claws, and he basically ripped out Mizuki's throat, killing him. And after using a quick water manipulation to rinse the blood off his hands, he turned to Natsumi, who was staring at him in horror, and she was like, "You killed." And Naruto was like, "What, so you would have preferred if he killed you?" And Natsumi was like, "No, but still." And Naruto was like, "Whatever, we'll talk more once we get home." And Natsumi was confused until she took a closer look at him, and she was like, "Big brother?" And Naruto was like, "You did not recognize me at first?" And Natsumi was like, "No, you're so different." And Naruto was like, "I suppose that's right, but doesn't my hair make me quite recognizable?" And Natsumi was like, "It's dark." And Naruto, like, forgetting for a moment that his eyesight was better than most people's because of Sage Mode. Uh, he was like, "Oh right, I suppose you couldn't see that. Anyways, tell me how you got into that situation." And Natsumi told Naruto everything, and Naruto got pretty pissed off, and he decided to have a word with his father about such a situation happening. And Naruto was like, "But something doesn't add up here. How did he even steal the scroll anyway? Yeah, you haven't even graduated from academy." And Natsumi was like, "Easy, I use sexy jutsu." And Naruto was like, "Excuse me?" And Natsumi was like Natsumi was applying to like prank Naruto using that jutsu. And she was like, "See, it's like this." And she did the transformation jutsu into the sexy jutsu. And Naruto felt as if his eyes were burning looking at you know Natsumi's obscene jutsu. And Natsumi was disappointed that it didn't work on Naruto, as he still maintained his cool facade on the outside. And Natsumi untransformed, and she was like, "Well, it worked on father." And Naruto was like, "That's one of the most obscene jutsus that I've ever seen. Never do that again. Are you trying to give people a sneak peek of what you look like naked?" And Natsumi was like, but, but I changed my hair and my eye color. My hair is yellow and my eye color is blue in my sexy jutsu form." And Naruto was like, "So what? The rest of you is still the same. Except your breasts are a little bigger in the sexy jutsu form. That jutsu would make sense if a guy does it. But it's extremely indecent for a woman to do it." And Natsumi was like, "Okay, big brother." And she just looked down disappointedly. And Naruto was like, "Anyways, is there anything useful that you learned from from that scroll that you took the trouble of stealing?" And Natsumi was like, "You're not angry I took it?" And Naruto was like, "It was Mizuki's fault anyways that you were even in that position where you stole it. You have no faults in this situation." And Natsumi just looked at him gratefully, and she was like, "Well, I did learn one." And Naruto was like, "Really? Which one?" And Natsumi was like, "Look at this." And she crossed her arms and she created like 100 shadow clones. And Naruto was like, "Very nice. So they put that in the forbidden section now. When I was younger, they had that jutsu in our parents' library." And Naruto saw Natsumi look at him sadly as he mentioned parents. And Naruto was like, "Is something wrong?" And Natsumi was like, "I don't know, but father has been coughing a lot recently." And Naruto was dreading this, as this was also how Kimimaru's illness and his death started. And now the same thing was happening to his father. But not wanting to scare Natsumi, Naruto didn't really show any outward reaction to this, and he was like, "It's probably nothing. It will pass." And Natsumi was like, "I hope so." So, anyways, they reached back home, and as the door opened, Kushina came in to hug Natsumi. And Kushina opened the door and she saw Natsumi and picked her up and hugged her. And she was like, "Natsumi, I was so worried when the Anbu said that you stole the scroll and disappeared. What are you thinking?" And Natsumi was like, "I'm sorry, but I'll tell you later. If you haven't noticed, there's someone here to visit you." And Kushina looked up to see Naruto, and at first she didn't even recognize him. But she found him so handsome that she even began to stare a bit. And then Natsumi clapped her hands in front of her eyes, and Natsumi was like, "Mom, are you there?" And Kushina shook her head and snapped out of her daze. And Natsumi was like, "Can't you recognize him? It's Naruto." And she's like, "It's Big Brother." And Kushina was like, "What?" Absolutely mortified that she stared at him for a moment too long. And Naruto just looked at her and he was like, "Hello, mother." And Kushina was like, "Naruto, it's been so long. Come in." And Naruto just stepped inside, and Kushina was like, "You've been gone for so many years. How come you didn't write to us?" And Naruto was like, "Well, in order to stay in contact with people, you first have to be close with them." And Kushina was absolutely shocked at this response. But then, as she thought about it, she realized how much she deprived Naruto of the love and care that she gave Natsumi. And she was like, "Naruto, I'm." But Naruto cut her off, and he was like, "Save it. I have something to give Natsumi first." And this made Kushina feel really, really bad. But then she decided that she wouldn't give up on apologizing to Naruto, and at least relieve her conscience. And Naruto turned to Natsumi and was like, I have a gift for you, Natsumi." And Natsumi was like, "Really? That's so exciting." And Naruto was like, "I suppose it is." Anyways, and he like put his fingers on a wrist on a seal on his wrist, and out popped a very elegant sword that was obviously crafted so well that it was obvious that it was from the Iron Country. And Kushina also noticed that you know it was the Chakra conducting metal type, and she also saw various seals engraved on the blade. And Naruto was like, "I made this out of the Iron Country's finest sword. It is made of Chakra conducting metal and has an edge so sharp that it can cut through anything as if it was butter. The only sword with a sharper edge is the Kusanagi sword that Orochimaru famously uses. Additionally, I have engraved seals on it that allow you to even channel jutsus through the sword, and make the sword unbreakable." And Natsumi was like, "Gimme, gimme, gimme!" And she tried to reach for the sword, but Naruto held it out of her reach. And he was like, "Nah, I will be giving you this once you reach Chunin." And Natsumi was like, "No fair." And Naruto was like, "Yes, fair. You're nowhere near enough skilled to be wielding such a sword. At least, not yet. Once you get a move on your training, I'm sure you'll quickly be able to make Chunin, and I will be able to give you the sword." And Natsumi was like, "You watch me, big brother. I'll make Chunin in no time." And Naruto was like, "I'm confident you will." And Kushina saw the loving interaction between her children, and it drove a sad smile onto her face, making her regretful that even after Natsumi was grown enough to take some of the stress off Kushina's shoulders so that she could spend more time with Naruto, she still spent more time with Natsumi because of how close she was with Natsumi. And Kushina was like, "Naruto, why don't you sit with us for dinner?" And Naruto, just obeyed without much, I mean, like without any argument. And over the dinner, Kushina apologized to Naruto, and Naruto was like, "Actions speak louder than words. I will forgive you if you show that you're sincere." And Kushina was like, "I suppose that's fair, but thank you for giving me a chance, Naruto." And Naruto was like, "People with good intentions are always deserving of second chances." And Kushina was like, "You can sense my intentions?" And Naruto was like, "Yes, it's an ability I gained after mastering Demon Fox Sage Mode." And Kushina was a bit alarmed by the name of Naruto Sage Mode, but she didn't decide. She didn't really want to push it because her relationship with Naruto was already as fragile as a thread. So yeah, and Naruto then decided to go to the Hokage office. In truth, Naruto was actually extremely disappointed by the lack of his sister's progress, and he realized that Konoha must have been hindering her ability to learn more. He knew the village's stigma against the Nine Tails, and he only felt that Kakashi, Gai, and Asuma were the only three senseis who would be able to teach Natsumi without a bias once she got the confirmation that she was a genin. However, he had a few concerns about these three as well, because he knew that Kakashi and Asuma would be too laid back to, teach Natsumi at the pace that was required. And while Guy was a training maniac, his lack of specialization in the shinobi arts was a concern to Naruto. So he decided that in order to prepare Natsumi for the Akatsuki, he himself would be her sensei. So yeah, Naruto went to Minato's office to ask him to let him be Natsumi Sensei. Yeah, and by the way, guys, I didn't mean to say that guy lacks specialization, and obviously he specializes in taijutsu. But then, what I meant was he doesn't have that breadth of knowledge. Like, what I'm saying. Like, he doesn't know ninjutsu and genjutsu, or fuinjutsu, or whatever any other ninja arts. Like, he only knows how to fight taijutsu and with nunchucks. So yeah, that's why Naruto thought that Guy wouldn't be that good of a sensei for Natsumi. Anyways, he went to the Hokage's office, knocked on the door, and he heard Minato say, "Come in." And Naruto walked inside, and Minato was absolutely shocked to see him, and Minato instantly recognized Naruto, and his eyes widened in recognition. So Naruto was like, "It's been a while, father," and Minato was like, "Naruto, that's you?" And Naruto just nodded, and Minato was like, "Wow, look how much you grew. You're even half a foot taller than me." And Naruto was like, anyways, before we exchange pleasantries, I have something to ask of you." And Minato was like, "What is it?" And Naruto was like, once Natsumi graduates from the academy, I want to be her Jonin sensei." And Minato was like, "Why?" And Naruto was like, "I don't know how much attention you've been paying to Natsumi's progress, but it has been stunted. This is because a major percentage of the village still holds a grudge against the Kyuubi, and incorrectly identifies Natsumi as the Kyuubi. Unfortunately, while I was away, her progress in the academy has been hampered, and I don't trust many of the Jonin in being able to train her well." And Minato was like, "What about Kakashi and Guy? Even the Sandame son would be a good Jonin, Jonin to train Natsumi." And Naruto was like, "While they bear no grudge against her, Kakashi and Asuma are too laid back to make her progress at the required rate. You're already aware of the threat of the Akatsuki, are you not?" And Minato nodded, and Naruto was like, "Then it is of utmost importance that Natsumi progresses at as quickly as possible. In order to even stand a chance against the Akatsuki, Natsumi must become an S rank ninja at least." And Minato was like, "And Guy?" And Naruto was like, "Guy lacks diversity in his shinobi skill set. While I have no doubts of his ability to teach Natsumi taijutsu, her progress in the other shinobi arts will not be the same. In fact, I think a Guy's overemphasis on taijutsu will cause her to neglect her training in the other shinobi arts." And Minato was like, "You make excellent points, Naruto. And you are a Jonin of this village, which qualifies you as a sensei for a team of Genin. And you are also an SS ranked ninja in the bingo books. So you're more than qualified to teach Natsumi. However, if I give you this position, you must swear to teach Natsumi's teammates as well as you teach her." And Naruto was like, "That will not be an issue." And Minato just nodded, and quickly brought out some documents and changed Naruto's and Natsumi's sensei, like the sensei that he assigned to Natsumi. And he is actually inwardly grateful to Naruto, because he was aware of the fact that Kakashi did not really want to be a sensei. And as Naruto was about to walk out, Minato was like, "Naruto, wait." And Naruto turned his head and raised an eyebrow, and Minato was like, "Sit down, son, tell me about the progress you made. You were only an A rank ninja when you left." And Naruto was like, "Alright. But first, let me ask you something that slipped my mind before. How could you fall so easily to Natsumi's ridiculous jutsu? And Minato turned red faced and was like, you see, and then he started scratching his head to look for an excuse. And Naruto was like, never mind your excuses, but if such a behavior of the Hokage gets out to public, I'm sure that I don't have to tell you of the consequences it will bring. And Minato was like, I know, Naruto, I know. I won't let that happen again. And Naruto nodded as he sat down to, tell Minato about like what happened in his journey. And he didn't tell him about Hanya or about finding Anko. He just told him like what he trained in and all that stuff. Pretty like standard stuff, except it was to Naruto scale. But anyways, um, yeah, that's what happened. So now we move to the part where Iruka visits Natsumi and tells her that since she can use the Shadow Clone Jutsu, which is anyways a lot better than the Clone Jutsu, she passes the academy, and he gives her his headband, and he gives her the headband, and yeah. So now there is a week between when uh, Natsumi gets her headband and she gets assigned her sensei. So during this time, Naruto visited some other people in Konoha that he knew. Anyways, first Naruto visited the Uchiha household, like Itachi's house, to see like how they are doing, and like he was hoping that they had kind of gotten over the situation a bit after the 5 year long period. So he knocked on the door, and he saw it open. Like he saw a frail looking Mikoto opening it, and Mikoto had become really pale and really like emaciated, like really unhealthily thin. And Naruto was like, Mikoto-san, what happened to you? And Mikoto was like, Naruto, you're here. How's Itachi? And Naruto was relieved to see that Mikoto still cared about Itachi even after what he did, which meant that she understood like the reasoning behind his actions and she forgave him for it. But it was still like quite disturbing to see her in such a frail condition. And Naruto was like, Itachi is doing well. So far, no one in the Akatsuki suspects him, and he has been sending back a lot of information to the Leaf Village. And Mikoto was like, oh, thank God, I'm so glad to hear that. And Naruto was like, please tell me how Sasuke is doing. I remember him being a lot more moody by the time I left. And Mikoto was like, I'm so worried, Naruto. Sasuke is. He hates Itachi, and I have to keep holding myself back from telling him the reason why so many of our clan members died. Yeah, he's still too young. And Naruto was like, does he know much about politics in Konoha? And Mikoto was like, a little bit, but he's not too well versed in it. And Naruto was like, this is a problem. I'll try to talk some sense into him later. And Mikoto was like, thank you, Naruto, you're a lifesaver. And Naruto was like, anyways, tell me how you have been doing. You don't look well at all. And Mikoto was like, I know I haven't been taking care of myself. Putting up with Sasuke's behavior now, and my grief after like half our clan died, it's too much. And Naruto was like, have you tried talking with my mother? You're best friends, right? And Mikoto was like, not really. And Naruto was like, why don't you go talk to her? She may not have been a very attentive parent, but I know that her heart is in the right place. And Mikoto was like, I know. You know what? I think you're right. Kushina has witnessed the massacre of her entire clan too. I'm sure she'll have something to say. And Naruto was like, And where is Sasuke now? And Mikoto was like, he's training in the yard. Would you like to speak to him now? And Naruto was like, no, if I come to your house and speak to him, it'll be as if you invited me, and if he gets angry during our discussion, he might take it out on you. It's best that I approach him when he's without you or any other friends he has. And Mikoto was like, please get through to him, Naruto. He doesn't even have friends his own age. I'm afraid he might do something too drastic if his hatred gets too strong. And Naruto was like, I'll try my best, Mikoto-san. And Mikoto just nodded. So next, after this, Naruto left and visited the ramen stand. And Teuchi saw him, and he was like, yes, finally, our number one customer is back. And Naruto was like, I see you're enthusiastic about seeing me. And Teuchi was like, of course I am, my boy. Now tell me about how your training trip went. So Naruto sat for some bowls of ramen, and he told Teuchi about his training trip, like the same details he told Minato pretty much. And at the end, Teuchi was like, "What? Only 20 bowls? You used to eat more when you came here. You ate more when you came here last time." And Naruto was like, "I learned a way to nourish myself without food." And Teuchi was like, what? Why? And Naruto was like, the sheer quantity of food that I had to eat to remain alive was too much. And Teuchi was like, I'm sorry about that. So, no matter how much of my ramen you eat, you will not get full. And Naruto was like, unfortunately not. And Teuchi was like, that's too bad. But I guess it means you won't be cleaning out my restaurant every time you eat here. So I guess there's a silver lining. And Naruto was like, hmm. Anyways, it was good to see you, Teuchi-san. And you as well, Ayame. And Ayame smiled with a small blush. And like she wasn't attracted to Naruto like romantically, but then she couldn't deny that he looked pretty good. So yeah, and Naruto went away, and similarly he visited like several other people that he remembered from Konoha. So yeah, and we time skip to that part where Iruka is announcing the teams. So he announces the same teams, except Naruto from canon is substituted with Natsume in the story. So yeah, Iruka announces the teams, and when he first announces Team 7, and he looked carefully at the sensei name, and it was like, it seems your sensei is Naruto Uzumaki. And Natsumi got super excited as soon as Iruka said that, but then she kept it to herself. Wait, sorry, this is Natsumi we're talking about, not Naruto. She jumped in the air and was like, "Yes, big brother is my sensei." And Sakura looked at her and was like, "Heh, if it's your brother, he must be a pretty trash sensei." And just as Natsumi was about to slap Sakura, she was interrupted with a snort from Sasuke, which was very unusual because Sasuke rarely ever expressed emotion, and kind of developed a reputation as someone who didn't have a sense of humor. And just as Sakura, Natsumi, and the rest of the classmates were pondering this, Sasuke was like, Sakura, you don't know a single thing. Naruto is probably the strongest Jonin in Konoha. And Sakura was like, he really? He's that strong? Well, if Sasuke-kun says it, I'll have to believe it, but still, I can't believe this little shrimp's brother is that strong. And Natsumi shouted, hey! And Iruka quickly clapped his hands to quiet down the class. And he was like, as I was saying, Team 7's Jonin sensei is Naruto Uzumaki. And just as he finished saying that, Naruto walked into the room, and he saw Iruka, and he was like, ah, Iruka, I see you have become Chunin. Very nice. I remember it was only 5 years ago when you graduated. And Iruka was like, thank you, Naruto, but my accomplishments pale in comparison to yours. And Naruto was like, nonsense, Iruka, you're a highly skilled teacher. And that is something that that people rarely find. And Iruka beamed at the praise, and Naruto was like, anyway, I take it that that is my team. And he pointed to Naruto, Sakura, and Sasuke. And Iruka was like, yes, Naruto. Will you be taking them now? And Naruto was like, yes. And he clapped his hands to get the his team's attention. And he was like, Alright, Team 7, meet me on the roof of the academy. And with that, he instantly, vanished into the air. And he didn't even body flickered, he literally just vanished. Like, it seemed like the wind blew parts of him away until he completely disappeared. And a few seconds after the class got over their shock at seeing such a display, Sakura was like, "Yeah, we got such a cool sensei." And Natsumi was like, "What did I tell you? My brother is awesome." And Sakura was like, I guess all the good genes got passed down to him then." And Natsumi just bonked Sakura on the head in retaliation. And as Sakura was about to, do the same, Sasuke was like, "Aren't you forgetting? We have somewhere to be." And as Natsumi looked a bit sheepish, and Sakura was like, "Yeah, Sasuke's so cool." You know how she squeals, right? As they both did that, Sasuke was like, "What an incompetent team I have. I would have been better off alone. Maybe I can ask Naruto Sensei if he can teach only me. Maybe he would also probably want to teach Natsumi as she's his sister, but we could at least do without Sakura." And as they made their way up, they saw Naruto sitting on a log there. And he gestured to another log, and he was like, "Have a seat." And as the three of them sat, Naruto was like, "Alright, I won't be wasting my time here. As of now, I don't care about your introductions, as you three are not truly my students yet. That will only happen if you pass my test." And Sakura was like, "But Naruto Sensei, we already did a test to pass the academy." And Naruto was like, "I know, but being a shinobi requires determination. Us Jonin senseis do the second test to determine which graduates did only the bare minimum to pass the academy, and which ones have more to them than the basic academy skills. Konoha cannot afford to have complacent shinobi." And then Sasuke was like, Sasuke was thinking, "Wow, what an excellent approach. What he's suggesting will filter out all the useless candidates who will only hold me back in my revenge." And Naruto continued on saying, "Now, as you have observed, there were 27 graduates from the academy. But out of the 9 teams formed, we can only pass 3. Which means you should know that you have a 67% chance of failing my test." And Natsumi stood up quickly and was like, "Tell us about the test already." And Naruto was like, "Very well. You are to meet me tomorrow on training ground 7 at exactly 5 a.m. And you are not to eat anything before you leave your houses. Now, if everything is understood, see you tomorrow." And with that, Naruto disappeared once again in the same cool way. And a few seconds after he disappeared, Sakura shouted, "Yeah, Naruto Sensei is so hot." And Natsumi was like, "Sakura, don't talk about my brother like that." And shut up. Anyways, no matter how hot Natsumi's brother is, I'll always be for Sasuke. One day Sasuke-kun will be mine." And Sasuke resisted the urge to gag as the three of them simply left, and Sasuke and Natsumi went their own ways, leaving Sakura behind. So, anyways, the next day, the three of them, which means Natsumi, Sakura, and Sasuke, they all woke up and went to the designated training ground after freshening up. They obviously didn't eat anything, as Naruto had told them not to, and they went off to the training grounds. So I will be ending the video now, guys. If you like this part, please give me a like, and share my channel and my videos, and subscribe. And feel free to comment on your thoughts on my videos, and this what if, and also comment down your ideas for future what ifs. And thanks for watching, guys.